Hello guys, welcome back to the A2B podcast, your number one military source for anything that has to do with entrepreneurship and entertainment. We are back today with Sonny Santavillai. Thank you for being back with us, Sonny. We're also here with our co-host, Barry Bull. Let's go.
Boom.
So we've been talking about, you guys can see our
Now,
part
Sonny's
one.
biceps are bigger than mine, then officers are better. Throw it up, Sonny. Come on, Sonny, throw it up, dog.
I'm humble.
See, and here's wow. I'm so sorry, you guys. My humility is not showing.
If you guys want to see part one of our podcast, you guys can go right here and see the part one of our podcast. But essentially, we were talking about...
Well, hold on. Like, literally, that's a direct order. Go watch the podcast.
And drop a subscribe if you guys haven't subscribed.
Yeah.
So,
say something nice about me.
So we were talking about in the first podcast about things that affect, our essentially we talked about a lot of stuff, but things that affect the unit at a micro perspective of things. Now we're gonna move on. We're gonna start with a subject about the education that officers has to go through whenever they start their career as an officer, and then we're going to transition to other things that are directly related to that, with things that are happening right now in 2023 in some of these universities that our officers are actually in. And essentially, how can our officers, essentially leaders,
Sure.
right, can make an impact in those things that are happening in those colleges? So, Sonny, I'm going to ask you, what are some... When you were going to college, how was you going to college a different experience, knowing that you were going to go in the military? Did you know that you were going to go in the military?
No, I didn't. I actually, going into the military, I had forgot about it for 2 or 3 years, and then I saw a Marine OSO with the table out front. I still remember his name. And
This is USF?
University of South Florida, and got to talking, and I got re-energized about the military again. But I during college, I was just flip-flops, sports shorts, and backwards socks hat. I mean, white t-shirt.
Was your voice different? You're like, what's up, dude? What's up, dude? Big Sonny, dude. USF, bro. UCF can't even see us, dude.
Yeah, he Captain at the time, Captain Jackson Reese. He was an 02, 03, intel guy, ground intel. Former scout, platoon commander. Good guy, and he was just not very optimistic in me making it because I had like a 284 PFTs. Like that's
still
that's
really good.
He's like, you're not gonna.
You're
make
just
it.
not cut out for it.
Yeah, he's like, keep signing up for classes
Oh
for
my
next.
gosh.
He says, don't disenroll from next semester.
What was like holding you back? Was it the pull-ups or the run?
It was
or
the
like,
run.
Yeah,
because
but still
who
284 though.
Yeah, 284.
Yeah,
What's that? Like a 20-minute run? I don't even know.
No, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
it was
like a 20-minute run.
Yeah, I just don't think you're cut out for it. You're like, what?
No, it wasn't that good. But anyways, I got to OCS. I was middle of the pack and whatnot at OCS. I wasn't slowest. I wasn't fastest. But to go back into the difference between boot camp and OCS, my brother was an enlisted Marine. I never went to boot camp, but I will tell you what. Second week of OCS, when I went, you're running 3 miles every freaking day except Sunday.
Yeah.
And then third week,
3 miles every day except Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. And then third week, 4 to 5, and then onwards, and then you're actually throwing in hikes and whatnot. If you're not healthy, they will break you. And once you're broken, you are what do they call, Camp Stool Commando. And usually you would DOR, or they'll...
What's a DOR for people that don't know?
Drop on request.
So you
can
the SEALs, you can walk up and ring the bell.
You can quit OCS.
Yeah.
You basically can.
Yeah.
And then you can also get kicked out because you just suck, right? You failed the leadership evaluations, the peer evaluations.
Was there any peer pressure like while you were in OCS where like you had dirt bags and you're like, dude, you need to quit?
Oh yeah, there are some idiots that we were like, man,
seriously, quit tomorrow.
Like, you need to, like you have no bearing, you suck. I don't even know why you're here. But I will say though, there are some guys that made it all the way to graduation, but didn't accept the commission.
You think enlisted Marines should have the ability to DOR? We'd never make mission. Albert, as a recruiter, is like, ah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You as a drill instructor, because you're the ones that makes them quit.
So it's a different purpose, right? OCS is a screening. You're constantly getting assessing.
Yeah, they don't yell at you though. They're like, hey guys, listen. I am so mad at you. Sonny, get online.
I got slammed into the hallway by an instructor, but that was back in the day.
That's an allegation, guys. That did not happen. It was
They don't touch you anymore. They don't use foul language anymore. I know that for certain. Yeah. Because when I went back to be a staff platoon commander, we weren't cussing, we weren't touching, we weren't
Yeah.
hazing. It was totally different.
I make a joke out of it because that's what enlisted Marines genuinely think. Some of them, like in OCS, you guys are just sitting around writing essays, pushing up your glasses, and that's not what it's like, right?
When you're assigned 3 essays and you got to write them overnight, it's a hell of a time because you got to get sleep. I mean, it's sort of like a joke, but it's true because they try to wear you down with lack of sleep, lack of whatever, because you dug your own freaking grave to get punished in that manner.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Now I do. So obviously there is a requirement whenever it comes to education in order for you to be an officer. Is there a specific? You were an officer for 20 plus years. Is there a specific degree that you recommend to somebody that is going to college right now and is thinking of joining the military after they get out of college that would help them to be a better officer?
not to be a better officer, because we're talking about leadership. If they want to study organizational dynamics, change management, that would make sense, right? But who's so focused enough to do that, right? There are some great officers out there, commandants, generals. They study like art history, economics. They study everything. And the concept of that is having a broad depth of education where now you can pull ideas from history, from your studies, to make you a better thinker and a better officer. People make fun of my degree, philosophy degree, worthless. The most worthless, probably liberal arts degree ever, right?
Yeah, but see, I just don't subscribe to that.
No. I'm putting myself down because there is a social fabric out there that says you need to have a degree that's applicable, that's sort of like a vocational degree that actually makes you successful. But degrees that actually make you think, degrees that actually make you, like General Mattis used to read books all the time regarding, historical warfare, that made him a smarter thinker, right? Yeah. It builds up your mental library. So anything that makes you really critical and analyze things, even a science degree, it makes you methodical, process-driven, makes you articulate, attention to detail, all those intangibles. But to be a better officer, just do fucking good in school. They're going to make you study math, history, English, and everything.
Yeah.
Just get a degree. Now, to really pinpoint an answer for you, if your objective was to go into comm or IT or cyber or intel, signals intel, then maybe you need to get some sort of IT degree, right? Because then they'll make you more geared towards that field, right?
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah,
to
But I like where he took it though, because, and to correct me if I'm wrong, to kind of like wrap it all up, it's like, the leaders or readers concept. Your brain is a muscle, right? As long as you're engaged in like using it, you're going to mentally like improve and be better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, something that's going on right now, I don't know if you've been keeping up with everything that's going on in the news cycles. They just had I think it was the second or the third GOP debate. And one of the questions that was asked
What's GOP even stand for?
Grand Old Party.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is that true?
True.
So what is it?
True.
Yeah, okay. So it's the Grand Old Party. That's a Republican Party. They just had their, I think it was second or third debate. And one of the questions that was asked to all the candidates was, there is a lot of anti-Semitism that is going on right now.
What's anti-Semitism for those that don't know? In your own words.
Anti-Semitism, it's essentially hate or discontent towards something that's going on, or towards a certain group of individuals. In this case, is Palestinian, people that like Palestine over Israel.
Wow, we're really touching a hot one here.
Yeah.
Yes.
This podcast is going to burst into flames.
So there's a lot of anti-Semitism to where a lot of Americans, specifically, Jew Americans, do not feel safe.
For the record, he said Jew, not you Americans.
Yeah, Jewish. Yeah, Jewish Americans do not feel safe going to college or going to campuses. How can we, specifically as military service members, because believe it or not, in those colleges, we have people that are going to MESEP. We have MESEPers.
100%.
In those colleges. We have ROTCers.
100%.
So let's open up that forum, because even though it's a small group of individuals that are in those colleges, It only takes one person to stand up against those colleges, and then we'll take it from.
What are you advocating for?
I'm advocating to what can we recommend to those people that are in those college campuses right now, and they see somebody death to Israel, or they see somebody, you know, with a Palestinian flag. What at the micro level should those people be doing?
You're
to
coming off
stop
very
that?
pro-Israel right now.
I mean, the reason why I'm going to tell you why is because if you see the way that they were suggesting it, if those candidates were to become president, they will be taking aid away. If you were doing FAFSA and you were pro-Hamas or you were pro-Palestine, if you were here on a student visa, your student visa will be revoked.
Wow.
If you
do you like that? Do you think that should happen?
I mean, you got to think about it. Whether I agree with it or not, that's irrelevant at this point because I'm a United States citizen, and like you were saying in the last podcast, listen, we have our own problems, we have our own things, but God darn it, we are gonna fucking stand together. And if our government says like, hey, listen, in this group we're gonna support Israel, or in this country we support Israel. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Go to Palestine. Go to the Gaza Strip and fucking complain there. See how that shit's going.
Well, it won't happen because you'll be murdered.
But
you don't even have the right to assembly.
But that's what I'm saying. My question is, Sonny, what do you recommend if a candidate right now is going through the MESIP or is going through the ROTC program, they see something like that? What do you recommend that they do?
Ignore it and walk on by. Okay, let me qualify that. One of my great friends right now, he's still in, he's lieutenant colonel. He's Muslim.
Hello.
And being Muslim throughout OIF, he was with he doesn't necessarily. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't, but he doesn't necessarily flaunt it, but he's Muslim, right? And if we know the history of the Marine Corps, the culture of the Marine Corps, being Muslim is like,
it's not the most popular
It's not the most popular thing. Like you're asking for, for nobody who knows you.
Even if you were a Muslim chaplain.
Yeah. So it is not the most popular thing. And there were Marines that I could hear, chatter and undeserved chatter regarding this guy.
Yeah.
He's post command. He was a battalion commander. Now he's doing great things still in the Marine Corps. He is a loyal United States Marine. Yeah. So to answer your question, it will pass, right? Now if those potential Jewish Marines want to stand up for it, then stand up for something or counter back. Just understand that, there's got to be a time and place. They got to be ready to take a stand if they're going to take a stand.
Yeah, as a leader, it's tough, right? Because as soon as you say I'm Democrat, you just alienated the other half of your people.
Absolutely.
Your Marines, your service members. As soon as you say I'm pro-Palestinian, pro-Palestine,
should people be pro-Palestinian?
I don't think so. Hell no.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and answer. I think we're dancing around it. Take a step back. So what we're talking about, the reason why the United States government is supporting Israel is first and foremost, all, bullshit aside, all history and philosophy aside, they are a strategic partner in the region. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Okay,
100%.
That's one layer. That's a very important layer.
Yes.
Like, even if you don't...
Super important.
Even if you don't like Israel, even if Israel is a different country, whoever that country is a strategic partner. Right, to your future.
They're located pretty well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, America is built on Judeo-Christian values, which is kind of sliding away.
There you go.
So
now
there's another touch point, right? And they're not Arab. That's another. Yeah. Like we're human beings. It makes everything easier for the average American to kind of like fall in line with that, right? Now, do I believe it's that clear cut of an answer? No, because I don't think we've talked enough or communicated amongst our friends and family enough the difference between Palestinians and Hamas, right? Sure, they voted. Sure, Hamas won the election. 2007? They've ran it, but Hamas doesn't control the West Bank. That's a different political party that controls it, right? So it's like,
and that is more of a mixture of Jews and Palestinians.
Yeah, it is. So it's kind of like we as human beings,
It's not like clearly defined like Gaza.
That's the folly of human nature. Ever since we were a kid, we touch the pot and it's hot. We don't touch the pot anymore. So then we generalize because of survival, right? Survival feature. Now we do the same thing when we judge other people. Oh, all Jewish people. That's anti-Semitism, right? And well, let's talk about it. Is it all Jewish? Are all Jewish people Zionists? Do they all believe that Israel belongs to Jewish people, that area of land, right? I think that's another term that needs to be defined. Zionists, what do they believe? Zionists believe that is their land and nobody else should be there. That is, God gave them that land. Yeah. So
I want to give a quick shout out to the older millennial on TikTok. He brought up a really interesting, a different way to look at it. Apart from Zionism, right? That's like, the Jews are the chosen people, and like that was originally their land. His mentality is like, how many wars do the Jews need to win? Wars have consequences. And every time they've been attacked, they have effectively kicked the butts of everybody in that area, and wars have consequences. I mean, and hell, they gave back a ton to Egypt. And the surrounding countries, right?
Yeah, but how come Egypt?
So the question is not in the older millennials take, it's not who originally does the land belong to. He's coming at it more from like a conflict, war perspective, not religion.
Who's won the most wars?
Well, wars have consequences, man. I mean, that's just, Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It's very hard for me to talk about this because let me go back in time. So my OCS platoon, our slogan was "Pray for War," and I carried that slogan to when I became a staff platoon commander as a captain. Pray for war, and that raised eyebrows. But that was to get young Marine officers energetic and aggressive. And as I look back on that and look at the plaques that had "Pray for War," man, I hate war. War is the worst thing. But you can't tell somebody that when they've had their people slaughtered, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, they want revenge. Yeah. And unfortunately, in that part of the world, an eye for an eye is very real.
Yeah, and super
it's
real.
Very real. And it's just
it ain't like California.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to talk about.
Sure.
Yeah, I will tell you this though. I mean, it's their own government, Hamas, is strategically placing kind of like it was done for us. This playbook is a playbook that has been used in that region for a lot of years. It was done to us. What happened when the Taliban where would the Taliban do its strongholds? Hospitals, schools. They would hide all of this stuff. As a matter of fact, when I was in career school, we have a scenario that we actually had to run. And each person in your classroom has to play a role in that. It's only one of them that can only play the good guys. There's another guy that plays the village elder. There's another guy that plays, the Taliban. And you have to successfully fulfill the mission that you have in the back of the paper, right? Guess who I was? I was the village elder. And in the paper it said, you don't care about the military. You don't care about the Taliban. You care about whoever gives you the most for your people. Mm-hmm. Because that's how they look at it. As you're a village elder in Afghanistan, or if you're a village elder in anywhere in these places that still have village elders, right? Like, you only care about your people. Mm-hmm. So you know what I did? I would have a drug ring out of the school, and I would hide the schools because I knew that the military would protect the schools. And then we would have secret meetings to where I would talk to these people. I was like, hey, I need protection for this school because this is where the kids, and I don't want the Taliban to hit the kids. But secretly, I was doing the meeting with the Taliban, and the Taliban would actually put the drugs that I would sell off in the school. So I had protection from the United States military for the things that the Taliban was giving me. Mm. If me, a fucking dumbass from Puerto Rico, can put 2 and 2 together, you better fucking believe that there's got to be stronger minds.
He loves Puerto Rican people, for the record, guys.
That think way fucking more than me. You see what I'm saying? That was just an example. I can guarantee you that this shit is being implemented. What I'm saying in my long-winded answer is Hamas is doing the exact same fucking thing. Who backs up Hamas? Iran. Who backs up Iran?
There's a lot of people that think that Israel funded Hamas.
Hey, I mean, it could be. I wouldn't be surprised. Who funded Saddam Hussein in the 90s?
Yeah. All right, switching gears a little bit, sir. I got a couple of questions for you here. One is, FITREPs, evaluations. You've been involved throughout the entire process. You've been, the Marine reported on. You've been a RS. Have you been a RO?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so, I get messages all the time from enlisted Marines and even officers on occasion. What are your thoughts on it in general? Is it a flawed system? Because I hear that all the time. Oh, yeah, our system's flawed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Maybe it is. And why aren't initial counselings happening? I would get frustrated with that as an enlisted Marine. Why don't you just tell me precisely what I got to do? Give me the answers to the test. I want to be all the way to the right. I want to get big letters.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I can't answer some of your questions, but I'll tell you what I did. And any Marine out there, sergeant and above, go ahead and put in the comments if I never did this. Anytime I took over a platoon or a unit, Microsoft Outlook, send me an invite. Block off 30 minutes. We're going to do initial counseling. I share my calendar with everybody else. And when they come in, it's not some bullshit hokey, sit down, get to know you thing. We'll get to know each other. But I have a printout of the MRO worksheet that they were supposed to submit to me. I have a printout of my command, whatever, my command vision, what I expect out of them. And we have this conversation. I tell them that this is, okay, look over your section A. Is it good? Look over your section B. Do you not understand? Do you have any questions for me? Mm-hmm. All right. And then I tell them to come check in with me very routinely. I tell them who their RO is. So if they have any questions, we can talk. It's very transparent. And here's the deal. Here's the kicker, right? And that's great, fine and dandy. That can be very informal. But the last piece has to be very formal, right? You have to go over, this is before it gets submitted through APAS. This is still in the draft version. You go over A, B, and then C, billet accomplishments again. They will have submitted to me their complete MRO worksheet of their accomplishments, and then we go line by line, every marking and why. And then I myself, a point of pride, I read out the section I myself so they can hear from my mouth what I am telling the board about them. I do that. And I do that because I want them to feel that I'm being 100% transparent. I'm putting my balls on the line. And then in addition to that, I have a printout of my profile to tell them the average. We'll compute it right there. Actually, I write down the average of the FITREP. Then I tell them where they are on my profile average. Then if they have any questions, they want to protest, we can talk about it. But that's before I submit it to the reviewing officer. And then that's it. The key thing to really beat on, and I beat this on more so later on in my career, was to have them come see me. Because what happened to me was, come see me very occasionally, routinely.
Because they won't forget, but you get busy. And
I get busy. Because what happened was that I thought that I was doing the right thing for some of my seniors. And yeah, you're doing fine. Everything's great. Okay, sir. And this is like field grade level.
Sure.
Right? These aren't like jackass lieutenants who don't know how to do a FITREP. So these are field grade officers.
By now you've already completely royally screwed up your profile.
Kind of, yeah. So and this is all across my peers as majors. I received the same type of commiseration. We were just complaining about it all the time. Yeah, he says I'm doing good, but then he marks me like this and like, that's bullshit. I'm like, yeah, this is bullshit. So what I still to this day will tell officers to do, and anybody who receives a FITREP, is to barge professionally into your senior's office and say, hey, sir, can I get a gut check? How am I doing? Blah, 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 in a very professional manner, make sure you're making good use of his time, but to really get a feel of where you're at. Because if you don't, and that ending FITREP is a surprise, it's 50% your fault because you weren't aggressive enough with your communication with your boss. I really feel that way. It is, at the end of the day, the responsibility of that officer to make sure he's honest.
That's what people are going to say. They're going to say that.
Yeah. It is, but officers are humans. They make mistakes, and
Hell,
they're
there's
shitty
a lot of
officers out there.
Marines that when they're that young lieutenant or that young sergeant, I would hear them, and they feel that you should be tracking my accomplishments. I shouldn't even. Why do I got to sit here and write this thing? What do you think about that? Is that even possible?
No, it is possible. It is possible. In the way I made it possible, and I'm not making shit up. I have a running chrono in my calendar of things that have happened, and I have manning documents. I know what people have done. I know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
say something though.
What's that?
That's like not the rule. You're the exception. Because listening to you, I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like if you're an officer, seriously,
Take some notes.
Take freaking notes. What would you tell a young officer who is trying to establish their profile and they're just starting out so they don't screw it up? Is it what everybody says? Is it like start low, start middle of the road, you know?
Before you even make any marking, that officer has to have that trusted line of communication with the RO. The RO, the reviewing officer.
Sure.
That should be their mentor.
Okay.
It goes back to what we said a couple weeks ago in the original podcast. Leadership is lacking. Mentorship, proper mentorship of how to do something is lacking.
Yeah.
Like I had when I was a lieutenant, when we still had 3.5-inch floppies, the ones with the sliding metal piece on the squares.
This guy's getting old school again.
I had an RO, company commander, when I was a lieutenant. It's like, hey, every month, I want you to write out bullets for every Marine, sergeant and above, and I want you to shoot them to me, and me and the first sergeant review it, so I know that you're tracking. So that was like a control factor, right?
Yeah, he puts a process in place.
Yeah. So that
I love that.
It forces me to track it. After later on, when I PCS, I still kept a logbook of things that were going on. I didn't have some weird Rolodex with bullets, like a nerd, but I knew what was going on, who did what, who took charge, and everything.
But you're an officer, so technically you guys are all nerds, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys, how we doing here?
McPeepee,
Yeah, bring it in, guys. School circle.
So I would say start middle of the road because you can always adjust. One of the biggest things that bit me in the ass was there was this Springbuck staff sergeant, and I marked him high because he was in my office all the time. He was one of the.
Loved it.
Well, I didn't love it, but it was like the squeaky wheel gets the oil,
Yeah.
right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and he
Closed
just,
mouth never gets fed.
yeah, like if you're too humble as a Marine, no matter what rank you are,
should have joined the
no
Air
matter what
Force.
MOS, like you're not going to get the award.
Join the Navy.
Yeah, you're not. And
happens
that's
all the
why.
time.
So that's
Yeah,
why when
happens
you
all the time.
transition, I don't mean to transition the conversation, but
No.
when you transition to the civilian world, during these transition courses, they tell you to speak about your accomplishments. Don't be so humble, and that's so. But we're bred to just kind of be quiet. But then those spring butts, those like pretty boys who want to get awards, want to get promoted because now they're playing the game.
Sword chasers.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, sir, I ran a 5K yesterday. Oh, okay.
See,
I ran a marathon.
I love what you're
Okay.
saying I don't disagree, but like that is, like I said, the exception. It's super not common. What I would advise enlisted Marines is no matter what, okay, let's say you kept all those notes, and you were writing on me. At the end of the day, you're not there every second.
No.
And you're never gonna know, like, not just what I did, okay, but it was like I had a Sergeant Major Irene O'Neill, shout out. She did 30 years. She retired as the Inspector General Sergeant Major. I thought she should have been Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and I freaking hold to that. And if you know Sergeant Major Irene O'Neill, I love her. She actually mentored me through my retirement process. She taught me so much, right? But when it was like I had come off the drill field, I was a gunny at the time. And I would get pimped out all the time to like help people with their ceremonies, right?
Yeah.
Well, the guy that was writing on me, Major Aguilar at the time, she's like, he's a great guy, but he doesn't know what it entails to like, get a ceremony together, right? What do you know as like an officer most of the time? You show up, there's swords, there's like some prior drills, there's like, get in line, and like, you don't know, I'm over here like threatening people's children so I can get a podium and a sound system. Like, and that's what goes into some of these ceremonies. So I'd have to like spell this out.
Well, yeah, and maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I didn't mention something.
Yeah.
Before I build the final FITREP for a Marine, I have him send me his MRO worksheet that's filled out.
Sure.
I've had Marines send me like one bullet. I'm like, if you don't know what you did,
That
how
would
the
piss me
fuck,
off.
Like
You're a freaking dirtbag.
yeah, if
You have licked
Sergeant above.
windows.
He's like, oh, I don't know, sir. I did a lot of stuff, but he didn't take the time to tell me
Staff
what he
Sergeant
did.
Lunch Meat.
Right? But then there are those that do send me like a couple dozen bullets. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Great. Thank you for jogging my memory. I didn't know that. So it takes two to tango. It's like I said, 50-50, 50% on me to know in context of all the sergeants in my vast career.
Did they ever try to like slip stuff in to make sure you read it? Like sometimes I'd be like, I armor-alled your tires every Wednesday, you know?
Yeah. I had so that once in a while, but sometimes, Barry, they would put in things. I'm like, wait, that's not important. He actually thought that was important to do that. That's not important for a staff sergeant to be doing that. He actually should be delegating that. Now it's actually a negative thing. Now I'm like leadership, like delegation to subordinates.
This is a deep one.
I'm like, oh
that's a
shit,
deep
like
one.
maybe he doesn't need to be higher ranked. Because he thinks that's important, or that's all he's got. Right? It's just
so
like,
the initial counseling, like you did it, and that's awesome. Seriously, like I said, because I just
hard copy.
One thing I used to hate was the more senior you got, the more my RSs just assumed I knew all this stuff.
True.
And I'd have to tell them like, hey, like insult my intelligence for lack of a better way to put it. Like I want you to spell it out, because even though it may be something I know, you may be bringing a different spin to it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're like operating as like a cohesive team. You know, this I did it. Like this for the last boss. You're different. Maybe you want the bread slice a little bit differently. I don't know. Let's just talk about it and freaking kick it around. But I love your take on it, though, sir. I do think, like kind of like we were talking before we went on air. The counseling shouldn't be happening when you get the damn FITREP, and it shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah. And the system is changing, by the way.
Yeah, what is it changing to?
So obviously they're revamping the entire way that the FITREPs are done to capture specific talents of the Marines and how those talents can be affected in order for you to
Talent management, your favorite?
In order for you to go to like the specific place that the Marine Corps needs you.
Yeah.
Right. So because essentially the way that the Marine Corps is doing it right now is, okay, how do we measure it? Oh, well, you're proficient because of all of these, you went to your MOS school and you passed. Yeah, but in some areas that you got graded in your MOS, even though everybody passed, some people did better than others in specific areas. And maybe those specific areas that are needed, there was actually in the Marine Corps Times, there was actually a very recent article that got actually
I've heard of that
out.
publication.
Yeah, that I got sent out, which funny that they release it in the fucking Marine Corps Times and not in any type of actual policy. But anyways, they specifically used an example of like, okay, so 03 and 0311 or 0369, right? Some of them might be very good at, doing their job. Some of them might be more technical and be better off at an S3 position. How do we capture that talent in order for us to send people where the Marine Corps actually need them the most? Because both are important.
I kind of don't like that, because the RS already has the ability to do that. It like makes me feel like their RSs are not doing it, so the Marine Corps is trying to put a process in place.
Not necessarily, but again, I think it goes back to what he was saying is, maybe not even the Marine doesn't even capture or doesn't even know the abilities, that person possesses.
Sure.
I'm still a dinosaur. I'm going to take it a step further. Why is it, devil's advocate, why does it matter that you're good here and you as,
Bloom where you're planted?
Bloom where you're planted.
I don't like that.
No. That goes back
Why?
to it goes back to building a well-rounded Marine, right? If we are eventually promoting leaders, that master sergeant, that master gunny, he's, no matter what MOS, how technical is he really going to be? Versus the sergeants and the staff sergeants. Yeah. He's leading them.
The master gunny, he's not going to be as good as a sergeant major, obviously.
Yeah. He has to have experience in working in S3. You can't have a master guns that's only been in the field, right? So that's devil's advocate.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah,
but I'm going to answer that. The reason why is because of how the current assignments are being done. You only get assigned to a place like that for 2 to 3 years. that is not nearly enough time.
It depends.
Because
It
what happens?
depends.
Because what happens?
It's not always 2 to 3 years.
Because what happens when you say you're grow where you're planning, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that at 2 years, you already know that you're gonna get yanked out of the fucking floor and be put somewhere else and be like, go, buddy. We're not gonna give you any water. Go ahead, buddy. Like try to see if you can fucking make
Survival
it.
of the fittest.
Yeah, you gotta fucking survive. That shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
I agree. I would agree with what you guys are saying if you would allow more time. Which again, that's what I love when that article.
No, there's
came
never
out,
any time.
no, I'm not gonna say guidance. When that idea came out, I was like, fuck yes. Like, this is so great. Like, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, sorry guys, business as usual. I'm trying to use your voice, by the way. It was like,
That's my crazy Colonel voice.
Sorry guys.
Hey guys, how are you? Colonel Bull here. Just wanted to say,
What makes
stay
it worse
motivated.
is you get into that billet and there's no turnover binder. And now you got to rebuild it. You got to learn from scratch. There's nobody to mentor you.
I will say there's been value in that before. When you took over somebody when it was just jacked up like a football bat. We need to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Last thing that I wanted to touch on was officer versus enlisted education. You know, what do you we talked off camera a little bit about, officers, how it's like 2 years they come in, they're in command for those that get command. It's a freaking sprint and then they leave and go to EWS and chill. Or they go to command and staff as a major and chill.
What about it?
And also, why
I
don't
enjoyed it.
See?
I'm joking.
No.
Yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, that's like we talked about, officers get screened and selected to go with those resident PME because it costs the Marine Corps a lot. You get it's a PCS move, you get dislocation allowance, and then a lot of people don't know, they don't realize it. But when the monitor comes around, monitor roadshow, you kind of get like first seat or first dibs or first conversation with the monitors because they're out of Quantico and you're at Quantico, so it's a win-win. And it looks great that you got selected to go to a resident PME. So I guess what are you asking, if that should continue or should it exist for enlisted Marines as well?
The officers got the big brains. Why aren't enlisted Marines getting degrees? Officers get to come in and hit it hard, and then we go freaking frat.
I don't think degrees should be even necessary in order for you to be an officer. I've said it.
You really hit me with a curveball there.
I don't think.
You hit me with a curveball.
I don't really even think that officers.
And I don't even. Baseball's over.
Yeah, I don't really think
they don't even play that in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Oh, dude, come on now.
Get out of town.
It's not shit.
Get out of here.
I don't think that there should be a requirement in order for if you want to be an officer, because that's one of the things that goes back to the talent management conversation, right? It's like,
why is it a requirement?
How do we groom? I know, right? Like, do you know why is it a requirement?
I don't know.
Does anybody know? If you're out there, can you give us the freaking
Yeah, I'm curious.
Spill the tea.
Why is it that it's a requirement in order for you to be an officer? Because I don't think it should be a requirement. I know many enlisted people. As a matter of fact, shout out to Michael Maldonado. He's one of my best friends. Yeah. Shout out to him. I know he watches the podcast every single time he sees a banger of a podcast. He sends me a shout out. So him. He is an enlisted. By the way, this guy. Listen to this guy's fucking profile. Went on recruiting duty as a boot-ass sergeant.
I already don't like him.
Yes, Michael, I call you a boot.
I already don't like him.
And it's like he went in.
Should have went DI
as a boot-ass sergeant. Got out of the recruiting duty as a fucking gunnery sergeant. That's how much
as the commandant.
That's how much this guy freaking killed it. He came back here.
Was he a career recruiter or no?
No. Okay. He wasn't a career recruiter. He came back to Camp Pendleton. He put in his MESEP package. He got accepted. He's going to college right now. I won't say where because I know he's a private guy. But he's going to those type of people. 100% officers.
Before I lose this thought. So, if you don't need a college degree, and we all know some college degrees, you get a degree from Harvard versus a degree from wherever.
Yeah. See, I never got one from Harvard.
Unaccredited school, whatever. I'm just being extreme here.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that, right? If not a degree, then what do you think? And I'm open-minded about this. What do you think should be part of the requirements to be an officer? Should it be IQ tests, physical fitness, personality? Do you have any trauma in your childhood?
I see what you're driving
See what I'm
toward.
saying?
Yeah,
because that would be a recipe for success, right?
Well, here's the thing.
Athlete in high
here's what I
school,
will
right?
say about leadership and leaders. Mm-hmm. Okay, leaders, no matter where you are, whether you're military or otherwise, leaders aren't better than those that they lead, right? Nobody, I don't think any of us think that, right?
Yeah.
What I will say is like this: they have higher standards for themselves than
Yeah.
most people around
Yeah.
them. And it could come down to that micro scale. I show up a little bit earlier. I stay a little bit later. I eat last.
So
go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I've been thinking about this for the longest time.
Yeah.
I believe that we could prevent a lot of issues in the military. This is controversial. If there actually was a personality test, it's related to what you're telling me right now.
I'd have never made it.
But no. But of identifiers of things, right?
Example.
If you have a propensity for addiction,
Ooh.
right now you wouldn't be an alcoholic as much, right? If you take a lot
Is
of
this
initiative
prior to
joining the military.
Albert's already
Right?
cringing again because now we're making it hard on the recruiters.
And
they cry enough.
Not necessarily.
if you
Recruiters out there
have
like, wham.
but
Not necessarily.
let's get this going to like initiative and et cetera, et cetera.
A personality
I
test.
need that. Well, I need that in my sergeants too.
Yeah.
Why take it away from the enlisted corps and let all the officers become the?
How would you standardize something like that?
I got it. I got it.
Don't say FITREP.
No, all you have to do is add like a
survey
couple of
monkey?
add another couple of things. The civilian job force already has things to measure that, right? They put scenarios to you, and then based on those scenarios, they'll match you with whatever company.
Are those effective? Like, what are they used for?
In the theory of
Placement,
psychology,
admittance?
there's multiple types of IQ. There's spatial. There's
Yeah.
So my point is, I'm not trying to think that I can reinvent the world and this is the panacea. This is like whatever the to success. My point is that if we think about this and say that it is the ultimate solution, well, are we discounting mentorship and exploitation of potential and whatnot? Because I was not the same level of leader I was 20 years later.
Yeah.
It actually was mentored and grew, right?
Yeah, well, no, Sonny,
sure.
like we already have the test for that, right? I think the ASVAB should stay, but the standardization of ASVAB, what qualifies you to be a Marine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you scored 32 on the ASVAB, you're good to go. Like, you're good to be a grunt, right? Now, we already have all
We love you, grunts.
We already have all those standardized process. What makes you good enough in order for you to be an officer? Where if you score 72 or more on the ASVAB, right? Again, if you add another piece to the ASVAB to where now you're including personality, it doesn't even have to be the same day because taking the ASVAB fucking sucks as it is, right? Just having that other piece to where it's now a follow-up. It's like, okay, now in order for you to be placed, where there'll be an officer or where they'll be here, you need to pass this specific with this level of talent, or this specific qualifications.
Yeah.
If you make that, then you should be good for, and that does not neglect you passing what's already out there, which is OCS, TBS,
Yeah.
and so
Because a lot of these Ivy League schools, their admissions programs, everybody's applying with the 4 whatever, with all these extracurricular activities and their jocks and everything. They're doing exactly what we're talking about. They're trying to find indicators of success because they want their alumni to be fucking famous, to be
course.
rich.
Yeah.
So they're actually doing this.
Well, that's
So,
a recruiting tool.
Yeah. So if the military can kind of rescope what is it that they want from their potential officer or enlisted and really drive that as a desired end state, then they could actually build something to get the person they want in the position that they want, right?
Yeah, can I be
It's something
honest
to
with
think
you guys,
about
though? It sounds great in theory. I just think that they're more focused on getting people in,
Sure. Yeah.
Just being honest.
Because we've been so successful with the drill field. We've been so successful
Well,
with
yeah, those are the best
developing
Marines
Marines, right? Yeah. So it's just
It's a DIs.
it's a
Jose
program that
knows.
works. Yeah.
So anyways.
But yeah, guys, I definitely appreciate this. Has been a very meaningful conversation.
Dude, I love this.
Yeah, I drop a comment, guys. Let us know what you guys
What did we miss?
think. Yeah, and I know we're missing a
How
lot of
wrong was Albert?
I know we're missing a lot of shit. We are super excited to keep you guys informed with some of the challenges that the A2B podcast is going to be coming out with.
100%.
Some of the new guests that we're going to be having here. Sonny, brother, I want to say this,
You're
man, from the
amazing.
bottom of our heart. We definitely appreciate you for coming out here with us, keeping it real overall. And essentially, man, I want to extend the invitation. Any time that you have something that you want to get out of your chest, you are welcome to come out here, brother. And our forum is going to be open to you, man.
Because you know what always happens.
My hat's out to you, man. I definitely appreciate you, brother.
He doesn't take that off for anybody. Because you know what happens? You're going to get in the car and think of 5 other things.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we love that, though. You know, and I agree with Albert. Anytime, the invitation's always open. I know we're trying to get retired Sergeant Major Josh Sellis on next week. Josh, if you see this, we want you on here, brother, because I know you got a wealth of knowledge and experience as well. But yeah, Sonny, you're awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for all the answers, the honesty, like, you know. And again, if there was something you guys are watching this that Sonny maybe didn't touch on, answer, whatever, or me or Albert, put it in the comments because this is for you.
Specifically, make sure that you hit that follow button and that you like and subscribe to all of our social media, guys. We post different types of content in all of our social media. So make sure that you guys follow us. Barry, where can people find you at?
Instagram at Bull5277, TikTok at Bull52772, YouTube, the A to B podcast. Click the link in my bio. The call is free. The change will last you a lifetime. And I'm proud of myself because I've lost like 5 pounds already this week. Okay, guys? 5 pounds this week. That could be you. And I'm just saying, dude, hey, whatever.
Sonny, where can
where
can people find you at?
TCPS 760. I got 10 more pounds to lose. But yeah.
And guys, you guys know that you guys can always reach out to me in the link in my bio. All my social media is Ramos_Capital. I am here to provide you with the most value in your life, specifically anything that pertains to real estate. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. Winter PCS is upon us. Make sure that you guys get ahead of the winter PCS to make sure that you guys win and save the most money out there with the best realtor in Southern California. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, but you helped me out last time. I asked for car advice.
Oh, that too.
We did. We talked about that. I bought the car, and it's amazing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, beautiful.
Hey, we're gonna talk about that in the next podcast.
Yeah, it's not a Charger or a Challenger.
That's what I figured.
50% APR.
I'll see you guys in the next one.